G'day friends and fans. Welcome to Dave Talk Stuff, Ukraine War Update for the 8th of November 2025. Alrighty, the war is continuing and the Ukrainians have taken heavy losses as Russia has intensified missile attacks and hit Ukraine hard. Now, the map hasn't fully updated, but as of 17 minutes ago, Russian aviation launched glide bombs towards Zaporozhye city. Explosions were audible. And jet-propelled glide bombs towards Dnipro, as well as hitting other areas of Ukraine throughout the day. Now, as we go around the map, come on, mouse. Alright, we can see the hits to southwest Kiev. What's this? Yes. Chervonoe. Over here, artillery in the Sumy area. Drones in Sumy itself, as well as Russian bombardment of Rykiskaya in the Sumy region. Now, of course, I think the map's updating. It's starting to load something. Damn it, it keeps doing that. Alright, so as you can see, it was spaced out during the whole day. It was not just a short, intense burst. Every hour there were explosions somewhere reported in Ukraine, with explosions in Chervonoe and Peninsula. Now, fighting continued here in the little corner of Vosk, still holding out. Damn, it's loading slow today. I usually preload it remembers, but I just got hit with an update just as I got live. So now, of course, the whole map wants to reload every time. But as you can see, it's still reloading. Sorry for the speed. Too late to stop and start over, I think. Now, of course, Russians have claimed yesterday to advance here. And they've made further advancements and fired artillery here into southern Kupiansk. Now there is fighting in other areas, of course, but there is no advance here in the area north of Lyman or in the area east of Lyman. Nothing in Seversk other than fighting. Nothing north of Chervonoe, a little bit of fighting in Chervonoe. Now, you can't see it, but there is a small increase in the territory here as the Russians have moved north and consolidated their position south of Konsk. But really, it is a very small amount. Despite making huge gains in the last week, they've now ground to a halt again and begin grinding the Russian forces. Ukraine. Russia has been halted by the Ukrainian forces and have now started their campaign of grinding. And Miliod is getting hit by assault forces, what's left of Novachay. Pavosk, they're still fighting on the north side of Pavosk. As I said, this is a bear trap, and Ukrainian forces were caught here in the outskirts by Russian artillery, as well as Russians taking revenge. I think that was yesterday. As you can see, only minimal changes, but Russia has made small steps north, but they haven't gone west or made any... Well, they've made some progress here, but not significant progress. But it's still, they take this. See, this is open field, so you can't say it's significant, but they've made progress, visible progress. Now, they've made a little bit of progress here, but it's insignificant. Here, again, they are holding position well, despite Ukrainian artillery counterattacks. Russia has began offensive operations here towards Timi, as well as holding the rest of the river. Assault forces still dug in on the outskirts of Hulapol, have conducted raids into Hulapol. The Russians doing their usual three-sided cauldron attacks, though less so here, but they have fired artillery at Urgiv and made some fire exchanged here in the south, with reports of losses of Ukrainian forces. The real intense fighting seems to be both in around Battle Group Center, but Zapad and others are, going Zapad towards. But here in Kherson, just the usual chatter. As you can see, Ukraine has failed out of 100 plus launches over the last 24 hours. Not one Ukrainian missile made it to target. Russian air defences held steady, while Captain Sky Shield has more holes in his shield than Tony Stark after going a few rounds with Thanos. Yeah. Captain America standing... Captain Sky Shield standing there. I can do this all day. He's not very happy. Come on, Zelensky. Grow a moustache, will you? Or do something with your hair. I can see right now. Well, Russian forces have launched more than 650 drone and 51 missiles overnight, caused a lot of casualties, destroyed a lot of infrastructure across Ukraine, including the fact that energy was the main target, and Zelensky was heard saying 9999 to Trump's peace plan, and then when asked, did you read it? No, and no, he did not read it. Trump is very disappointed in the Zelensky, but the Zelensky says, but I'm protecting you from the Putin. Remember, the Putin is as sneaky as the Black Puma. Have you ever seen a Black Puma? It could be anywhere. The Putin, and I always have to check under my bed for the Putin. Now, Zelensky has laughed off threats against his life from the Chechen leader. Remember, they almost killed Putin. And you know what happened to the people who almost killed Putin? So, Zelensky, do not underestimate the Putin. Okay? If his friends say they're going to kill you, you know they're going to try to kill you. And he says, no, I'm serious. I'm powerful now. I have many protections. Yeah, that's what men say when they go into the brothel and they still come out with the clap. Alright, Kremenchuk got blown apart. He described the assault as massive and said city workers were working to restore services. Russia says that it has taken Kushnevakia and Ravine. Ravine was also said to be taken yesterday. And the Russian media actually only said Kavitchkia. So, they recycle stories often. It is a little curse we have to deal with that most of the mainstream media pads out the stories. But the Russian Ministry of Defense said it shut down 172 Ukrainian drones and 4 Neptune long-range guided missiles. Did I say guided missiles? Vivans! Victory, comrades! Alright, see, Trump, he's a little disappointed in the Zelensky. He did not read the revised draft peace deal. though Zelensky's people approved said peace deal, Zelensky is yet to answer. Now, again, they're reporting here that it's a 28-point plan, reduced to 22. Zelensky's people says, no, they're just to 19. That's the difference, you see. After the talks in Moscow, it was reduced to 22. However, with the talks in Ukraine, it was reduced to 19. What are the ones that Zelensky took out? Aboya! We are not giving away the Donbass. Aboya! We're not giving away the Crimea. Aboya! We're not giving away the Kharkiv. And we'll add one to make it back up to 19. You give us the trillions, Putin. Give me all your gold. I heard your gold stocks went up. I heard that you... No kidding. Russia made big bandit. Russia has increased its gold reserves ever so slightly. But because the value of gold has also gone up ever so slightly, the Putin made more money today than the European Union stole off him yesterday. I mean, tried to steal. They didn't get away with it, but they tried to steal his money. And he said, hey, I got gold. Gold, you'll be coming begging to me because I got the gold. Kiss at the ring. No, not the ring on my finger. The ring. Other side. Kiss at the right. Kiss at the ring on the other side. Kiss my shiny metal ass. Kiss my shiny Putin ass. Because I got the gold. It's nice and shiny now. I got the gold toilet, Mr. Zelensky. You got friends who got caught buying gold toilets. Big difference. Zelensky's friends caught a fish this big. Zelensky, you always a lie. It was... You play piano. I seen you play piano, okay? Tank. Okay? You do not have the big of the fish. But the Putin, he don't need the big of the fish. He got the gold. And he says, hey, you gold medalist, come here. And it's yes, Mr. President. It's good to be the king, yeah? Now, Kremlin has responded to the US change in foreign policy as a positive move that they can now negotiate a cessation of hostilities in Ukraine and mitigate the risk of conflict between Russia and European states and end the perception and the prevailing reality of NATO perpetually expanding. So he's addressing the concerns of Russia, India and China, trying to deal with growing tension and escalation in multiple places around the world because the China is always push against Japan, push against Taiwan. You have North Korea, who actually for a while now is saying, you know what, I'm just going to make it the money off of the tourists from Russia. I'm going to make it the money selling the ammunition and the cannons to Russia. So he's not got no interest in the war with the South right now. Besides, he's still thinking that South Korea will collapse. And, of course, all the China bots are going around telling everybody how South Korea is going to collapse. Alright, so you're going to hear a lot about South Korea for a while. And China and Japan. But there's still the Europeans who are going, what about me? I want to break up the Russians so I cannot fear, because I fear they put it under the bed. But you see, all these Cold War warriors are not about as interested in peace as Lindsey Graham is interested in the Taylor Swift's Tatars. I think Putin is interested in the Tatars. Yeah, very good. Very good. The Trump. We know the Trump is interested in the Tatars. He's mad, built like bull. Hey, Trump is the only man to get a refund from a prostitute, okay? He's got the bigger brass. You think Trump has not got a negotiating tool left in his arsenal? Remember, right now, Russia is panicking over Venezuela. Russia is panicking not much over Venezuela. China is panicking big. See, Putin, everybody's saying China just ripped off the Putin. No, the Putin just made out like a bandit on the gold exchange. Okay, he increased his gold reserves by 1% and the gold value went up. Meaning that still demand is outstripping supply. And the Russians are making a buku bucks trickling gold out to one of the biggest buyers of gold right now, the Chinese, of which 40% goes to Taiwan for gold in the semiconductors. You know, there's a lot of gold in well, not really that much, but, you know, over large tablets, you know, there's going to be an ounce or two. It's spread out in copper and all the other and other materials. But there's a lot of gold used in industry. There's also steel, Russia with artificial diamonds, and potash, because Canada fumbled that ball and talked themselves out of a multi-billion-dollar deal, although Trump is trying to rescue that because America wants the potash to revive a lot of the farms that desperately need fertilizer, because there's no fertilizer coming through Russia. So there's a lot of unstable governments around the world right now who are looking at Brexit saying, well, there's going to be a war between the China and the India, and the Russia will take India's side. We're not going to invest in BRI, and we'll wait for the outcome. We'll see what happens over Taiwan. Things are shaky now. Some are talking about shifting investments also out of Europe, unless Trump gets a peace deal, because they think that without Trump holding back the idiots, that they will unleash the dogs of war and then basically destroy themselves, because even if they win the war, the Putin as a sore loser will burn everything to the ground and still preserve Russia and just be a smoking ruin where Ukraine used to be. And I literally mean used to be. I don't mean as a joke. I mean literally it will be Ukrainian glass. Okay? It'll be glass. The Europeans are idiots. I am not on Putin's side. I am warning you. The Putin is the sorest of sore losers. The only sore loser bigger is Trump and Xi Jinping. And they are going to stare each other down. Because remember, Modi and Xi Jinping, they pushed Russia to go to war. Modi, yesterday, says standing shoulder to shoulder with Russia to ensure they have adequate funds to meet their strategic goals. That's code for we're funding this war, okay? If you think India's on your side, then you believe Kamala Harris is on your side. Very good. It is sinking in. Now, again, the Russians only claimed Chervonoe yesterday, battle group. Today, battle group Yug, a few hours ago, overran the Ukrainians in Chervonoe, as seen here. They rolled into town. The Ukrainians had retreated from the outskirts of town. They cleared out the rest. Now, this is after days of intense shelling. But in other areas, there has been multiple casualties, adding up to a lot. I'm not going to count them all. But Trump's envoy has told Europe, no US boots on the ground, stop talking about war, get in your head, this is a peace deal, not a stalling tactic for the Bundeswehr or whatever you want to, the German tank forces to rebuild. Yeah, you need a decade for that, okay, because they sent all their best tanks. They've ruined them, okay? They do all these demonstrations and testings every year, and what happens? They sit in the field. They're not maintained. They think they're getting soldiers won't turn out of barracks, except for parades because they get the money and they get time and they get extra time off. This is all, Europe is so lazy and arrogant. The Eurofash has basically been so thoroughly brainwashed by the down and depressed nihilist youth of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Okay, the nihilist left, okay, has been sucking Europe of its soul. Pretty much, but so is China. China is losing its way. The Let It Rot movement that has destroyed Europe is now destroying China. The communist tactics of spreading ill will and disheartening citizens across the West with constant bad news, constant smears, constant lies. You have Hassan glazing the communists, saying how technologically advanced they are, how they could put a man at the moon if they wanted to, but they're just not ready yet. They're more interested in their building up their space station, which pretty much the Russians did the Soyuz in the 60s. China's chose far ahead. They could do they could build a Soyuz 3. A 1965 space station. Woohoo! They have folding phones. Wow. Never heard of the flip phone, eh? Or Nintendo split screen. Wow. No. It's Donkey Kong 2 technology from the 80s. Split screen where your text can scroll between the two. China's so advanced. They finally caught up with us in the 80s. Okay, this is the idiocracy. Because you've got to remember, right, that lots of companies have now pulled out of China. Their steel production is down 3%, right? Because Putin is doing more trade with, even Putin is doing more trade with North Korea and India than he is now with China. Even he's pulling out because he knows what a snake in the grass Xi is. BRICS is done. Okay, it's in name only. The cooperation is only where necessary. But other than that, you don't attack China. Russia can't go to China's aid anyway. But if India and China blow up, the best thing the US could do is decide what sandwich to make. And, Trump, of course, has to make noise about peace. But he, obviously he's got to solve Ukraine first. So let those two duke it out, It's over for Xi Jinping. It's just whether or not he lives out his term in office and the revolution carries on. But still, as the legacy, it's over. There's going to be no legacy. There's going to be no lasting memorials, right? If Xi's not the last emperor, then, it'll be Zhang, the God Emperor General, who commands the Fifth Army, because they're the most powerful army in China. They are the strategic rocket forces, which includes nuclear weapons and strategic bombers and missile submarines. But they don't have the tank force. They are only street occupiers with they have to. Well, they do have tanks, but they don't have the largest tanks. Most tanks are spread out between the 4 other armies, and they hope that the loyalty, right? Well, that even if one general goes rogue, that there's still enough loyalty and or fear in the others that they will not side because Shang has the nukes. It's like Russia. The only thing holding Russia together is that each state hates Ukraine or Western Europe more than they hate Putin. But they also have a belief, right? And that is, even if Putin can only achieve half of what he's promised, and that seems to be about on par, right? He hasn't been able to achieve anything and everything, but if even he achieves half of it, they still think it's worth being part of the Federation, except for maybe Kazakhstan. But we all know what's going on in Kazakhstan. I mean, they've always shifted alliances. Okay, the Kazakhs, the original Jews of Europe, the origins of the Bolsheviks. Though Islam has spread throughout most of the. There's still most people don't know there's a Jewish state in the region. It's above Mongolia, just off Kazakhstan. Well, it was part of Kazakhstan. But it's its own separate state, and the Chechens, Turkmens, and others are pretty much predominantly Muslim, but then it's a slowly decreasing number because of all the infighting. We don't. Plus, the Russians had the second largest conversions to Christianity after China, so there's a lot of change going on that is going to eventually end within a year or two for Putin, but for most of the world, we are watching a transition that is going to last decades, in which major religions, except for maybe Christianity, are undergoing to go either collapse or reformation. Even Judaism, the Talmud, there's so many who question now the fact that the Talmud is a creation that was put together in the 18th century, although some say it was revised again in the 50s when of the creation of Israel. And there's a growing civil war amongst the Orthodox to bring back the original Moses text, because it is the only holy text that they recognize. Not this, what shall we say, kosher light, Judean Islamic supremacy. See, Zionist, anti-Zionism, which ironically Kazakhs are very anti-Zionist Jews. There's a lot of Kazakhs in America as Orthodox Jews, although most of them say they're from Eastern Europe. They're actually Kazakhs. Ashkenazi, aka the Nazi Jews. The most of them don't live in Germany. Most of them live now in the United States, and they're anti-Zionist. They don't believe in Israel anymore. They feel that Israel has broken the covenant by taking extra territory. That it's only that one strip of the Levant that is it's on the map in the Torah. It's not a very big area. Sumna is not that big. But they've taken the other kingdoms, and as far as they're concerned, that is not Israel. So there's civil wars within civil wars, plus then of course then you add to that the Marxists, the Islamites, the Ishmaelites, and all these other isms that include fascism. Don't forget the Euro-fash. They don't like to call themselves fascists because that's a mean word that they use against us. But the of course, you have the feminists, the fascists, but in England right now, a lot of the patriot movement is 34% and growing. They are the largest voting bloc probably now in Europe right now. You look at all the others, conservatives are on the decline because everybody knows that most conservatives are just uni-party, other side of the coin. There's the socialist and the conservative. The Jewish mafia's coin. Throw that into the bin of history. This financial mafia that runs Europe is running its course. It's they funded the French Revolution to seize the French Reserve Bank and make it. The Rothschild Bank is an illegal seizure by war. It is illegal. They stole a bank funded with war profits. That is the holiest of unholy crimes against humanity. You fund a war to steal. And of course, it's further funded by slave profits laundered through the Mercedes through German pawnbrokers. And where did they store all this gold? Ukraine! And look up Holodomor, the largest single killing of Christians in the world. Millions killed by the Jewish Bolsheviks until Stalin put his foot down because it crushed the tank production, because the T-58 and the T-72 were primarily produced in Ukraine. Well, no, T-72 wasn't. No, T-34, and the T-60 were primarily produced in Ukraine. The T-72 and T-80 were primarily produced in the Urals, in Russia. T-34s, I think, were produced up until 1964, and Poland started producing, jumped straight from to T-80. I think they had their own version called the T-84, which is actually a T-72 modified with the T-80 gun. Russia always made sure that its satellites had lesser technology than itself. They may have had higher numbers, but they were still only 15mm with light artillery. They may have sounded big and impressive, but they were 90. Most of the Russian tanks were 90mm or 105s. Though Russia had, 150 had some really big tanks, which they scrapped because they were just too expensive for them to maintain. And, even with the T-90, it's only a 120. Again, a couple of 120s, well placed, can disable an Abrams. It's just, Abrams is one of the few tanks that can't be one shot, one killed. But right now, the predominant tank killer in Ukraine, again, is the Bradleys. And there's the, I don't know how Ukraine is going to fund to the end, how Ukraine got the funding to the end of this year, but they're definitely desperate if Zelensky's saying, hey, we need this money from Putin, but it doesn't matter. It's still only 1 year, and then what are you do when you run out of Russian money and you still haven't won? Germany didn't just burn through every last cent they have buying steel and chemicals from Switzerland all the way, and France all the way through World War II. They bled their economy dry fighting the Russians. And ironically, had there not been so much corruption in the German Third Reich, particularly with the lies about oil production, I mean, if somebody had told the truth, I don't think Germany would have gone to war. I think Germany would have turned around to England and says, Russia's going to invade Poland. We need you. We cannot take them on our own. We do not have the resources to take them on. England would have never declared war on Germany. They would have sat back, waited, and if Germany was right and Germany kept its word, things would have been so different if people tell the truth. This is so important. But because Britain is a captured state of the Zionists, and so were the Bolsheviks, and so was America, that led to World War II. If the truth was out, if the truth be told, that's why they are so adamant in crushing the truth. And it all comes down to who inherits the earth after Armageddon. Okay, Armageddon, Gotterdamdom, Ragnarok. There are dozens of names for Revelations. It has been revealed to every culture, the end of the world. It's never been given a date, only a cause. And when degeneracy, God never said eliminate, without, only within, right? You have to tolerate, but you could try to save, but there are so many things that are not taught about the Bible, about salvation, about the end of the world. It's only an end of the system we're in. And then there's a grace period. See, the Jews think they get that the world is promised to them. But remember, folks, how could we promise to them when they were kicked out of paradise? And then when Christ came, he didn't preach the Torah. He preached a whole new set of parables. So, folks, Revelations is the world mask, the naivety, the fugue state, whatever you want to call it, the false naivety image we have of the world and the state it's in is lifted, and we will see people for who they are, those who consort with demons, and those who are on the side of angels will be obvious to us all. And when that happens, that is when it comes down to you personally. It never says go kill the demon. The demons will war amongst themselves. That's why getting involved in foreign wars is why we were forbidden to get involved in foreign wars. The founders knew this. They thought they saw the beginnings of Revelations that says we're out of here. They thought Napoleon was going to bring about the end of the world. Well, not Napoleon, sorry, all these socialist revolutions. The persecutions of Christians, the rise of Eurofascism didn't start in the modern era. It was born in Ukraine, Germany, Paris. It's born in the slums of cities where people will cling to the hope of easy wealth rather than go to the fields to work because they disdain work. There are women who'd rather be prostitutes in a city than an honest housewife. And we'll see them for who they are. Not all will be saved, but we will see it. Will we see it in our lifetime? Well, I think as people get older, the old people start to see it and they go very quiet. So I think as more people, this is what, and you'll see millennials and all these people, they're transforming before our eyes. And you can see the beginnings of the transformations. I'm not talking about transgenderism. I'm talking about transhumanism, where inhuman appearance will be apparent to us. And I don't know if it's in my lifetime or within my son's or within your grandchildren's lifetime. But this is where we're headed right now. But God gave us the plan, and all we have to do is follow it. End foreign wars, end entanglements. Let the demons fight each other. Don't bail them out. GM collapses. Don't bail them out. Goldman Sachs should have never been bailed out. Never bail out the demon. They'll only come back for more. We should have never bailed out Israel, because they just keep coming back for more. The moment they hit the USS Liberty, should have been the end of them. There is still time to untangle. It's the same with Gaza. It's the same, right? Let them rot. Let it all rot. Only save those who want to be saved. You don't go saving Somalia. So this is why I want you to awaken. Because when you awaken and can see that the woke is just another transhuman looking to sell their soul to whichever is going to give them more power, you can hear and see demons. They preach that you have to give to get more back. They talk about your investments in the future, about buying your eternal life in heaven. But it's always preaching that you give them money for nothing, and you know it. But to the fools who think they cannot get into heaven otherwise, because they spent their teenage years doing drugs and fornicating, they spent their young adult years doing drugs and fornicating, they spent their marriage years cheating on their husbands, and then spent their middle age getting drunk, and then they suddenly discover church, because there's nothing in life that gives them pleasure anymore, because they have burnt themselves out. And they think, I will be reborn in heaven so I can start all over again. False religions, superstitions, claiming that you'll live on and on. Freddie Mercury. Alright, folks. I think I've beaten you, bashed you, broken you, but hopefully you can now rebuild and rediscover truth and render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto Trump what is Trump's, and keep those commie bastards out of Washington, please. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the channel. You know the monetizers do not like me, so I've got to ask for your support, but not gatekeep the truth from you. I will not make you buy the truth, unlike so many on YouTube right now who are bleeding people of their last $5. I don't know why people, but they got you captured, so they bleed you. So support me on Ko-Fi, Patreon, buy my books, buy more. All my links are in the link tree, description below, in my profile. Please and thank you. See you in the next video, and bye for now.